In this tutorial, we will review demonstrative pronouns and adjectives. Remember, this will be going very quickly, but you can pause the video anytime and rewind. Let's begin with hic, haec, hoc, this or this one. Hic can modify nouns, in which case it's used as an adjective, or it can stand all by itself, meaning this one, this man, in which case it's a pronoun. Here are our singular forms, and these are the plural forms. Notice when you look at the plural forms that this looks very much like a regular first and second declension adjective. He, horum, his, hos, his. Those are the plural forms of second declension masculine nouns and adjectives. Hi, harum, his, has, his. These are the plural forms of first declension nouns and adjectives. The only irregularities here are in the neuter plural, haec, haec, for nominative plural and accusative plural. So just remember those forms. In the plural, he, hi, haec, haec. Let's look at the singular forms again. Here it gets a little bit more complicated. Yes, first and second declension endings are here, but also a lot of C's and some strange-looking genitives and datives. Notice all these C's tacked on to the ends of the words. In the accusative masculine singular, hunk, and accusative feminine singular, hunk, you can kind of see how that M sound you would expect there, as in animum, has been transformed into an N by the influence of the C. Hum, is more difficult to say than hunk. And so instead of hunk, we have hunk. Instead of hum, we have honk. And notice in the ablatives, ho, hok, ha, hok. So those endings look normal with the addition of a C. Now let's look at the genitives and the datives. And these forms we just have to remember. Huius, huius, huius. Masculine, feminine, neuter. Huic, huic, huic. Dative, masculine, feminine, and neuter. Notice that ius ending there looks a little bit like the genitive of unius, of one. And we will see that ending again. So huius, don't be confused by the US there. Huius, genitive, of this man, of this woman, of this thing. Huic, to this man, to this woman, to this thing. Let's look at some forms. Hic amicus, this friend. Let's produce the genitive singular forms. What would that be? Huius amici. Let's do the same thing with hic vir, this man. Of this man, huius viri. Of this boy, huius pueri. Now we have hic poeta, this poet. Of this poet, huius poetae. Remember, that's a first declension masculine. And hic consul, third declension now. Of this consul, huius consulis. Let's do the same thing with some feminine forms. But now let's produce the dative singular. Haec amica, this friend. Let's say to or for this friend. Huic amicae. Haec femina, this woman. Let's say to or for this woman. Huic feminae. Let's do the same thing with puella, this girl, 2 or 4, this girl. Huic puellae. And finally, let's do it with a third declension noun, haec urbs, 2 or 4, this city. That is correct, huic urbi. Now, let's practice writing out the full declension with a neuter noun of the second declension. Hoc bellum, of this war, huius belli. 2 or 4 this war, dative, huic bello. This war, accusative, hoc bellum again. And in this war, with this war, by means of this war, hoc bello. The plurals. What was that neuter plural nominative? He, hi, haec. Haec bella. Genitive, everything else is going to look very familiar. Horum bellorum. Dative, plural, his bellis. Accusative, just like the nominative, haec bella. And ablative, just like the dative, his bellis. Very good. Let's fill in the blanks. Blank amicum. So we want accusative, singular, masculine. And the form is hunc, hunc amicum. Now we want accusative, singular, feminine. Hanc amicam. Now, blank consuli. This is a third declension noun, and consuli is dative singular masculine, so we want huic consuli. Very good. Oops. Harum urbium. Forgot to give you a chance on that one. Of these cities. And notice that urbs urbis is feminine. Now let's look at ille. Okay, once again, we have very similar endings. We're looking at something that's roughly first and second declension with some strange additions. Here in the singular, notice ille, nominative singular masculine, a little bit odd. That man, that one. And the neuters illud, illud, nominative and accusative. These are forms to focus on. Once again, the genitives and the datives are unusual. Ilius, Ilius, Ilius. Not altogether different from huius, huius, huius. And the dative singular forms, these are going to be tricky. Illi, illi, illi. Moving to the plural, we have things that are completely regular, completely regular. First and second declension endings. Just remember, illi, masculine plural nominative, is identical to the form illi, dative singular, masculine, feminine, and neuter. So illi, those men, or illi, to that man, to that woman, to that thing. Let's again practice the neuters with bellum. Illud bellum, that war. How do we say of that war? Illius belli. To or for that war? Illi bello. Pay close attention to that form. The accusative will be just like the nominative, illud bellum, I detest that war. And the ablative, in that war, by means of that war, illo bello. The plurals are going to be very regular. Illa bella, illorum bellorum, illis bellis, illa bella, illis bellis. Moving on, we have is, ea, id. Is, ea, id can mean this or that. This man, this woman, that woman. It's a little bit more neutral than either hic, this one, or ille, that one, which point to something close or to something farther away. This, that points to something in the room, something we're talking about, something more general. And it can also be used as the pronoun, he, she, it. Notice here again that we have unusual genitive and dative forms, very much like the genitives and the datives of ille, eius, 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 of him, of her, of it, of this man, of that woman, of this thing, and ei, 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 to him, to her, to it. And a few other strange forms, is and id. These you'll remember because you simply memorize is, ea, id, he, she, it, he, she, it. The plurals are completely regular. No surprises here, completely regular, first and second declension endings. Eius amicus, of, what does this mean? Let's take a close look at this. Wait a minute. Eius is genitive, and amicus is nominative. So it's not this friend or that friend, it's the friend of this person, or of that person, the friend of him or the friend of her. So in English we can use the possessive adjective, his friend, or her friend. Notice the plural, eorum amicus, the friend of these people, the friend of those people, the friend of them. So again, we can say their friend. But notice eorum amicorum, of these friends. Now eorum is not the pronoun, it's the adjective agreeing with amicorum, of these friends, of those friends. And that ends our tutorial on demonstrative pronouns and adjectives.